Welcome into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio, and I am so excited to be joined by my normal guest co-host here, Cam Brate, but also the one, the only, Beau Allen is joining us, which, what a perfect game. First of all, largely this is because a current player is very busy on a short week. Secondly, because after an Eagles game, what better than to have the guy who 1 foot in each camp played for us, played for them. Beau, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm always happy to spend time with you, Casey. Cam, it's all right to see you, brother.
Yep. Well, I just want to say I'm very excited. World famous podcaster, social media influencer, the Butter King in the flesh. So.
I would have thought Beau would have forgotten us by now. Yeah. I mean, he's made it big.
I'm on to bigger and better things,
especially
from Cam. I've moved up. I have a whole new set of friends. I don't need Cam anymore. It's perfect. It's
it costs a lot. I mean, it costs a lot to secure Beau for this hour.
Yeah,
but,
it's very
well
true.
Worth it. Yeah.
So this is a show that is both on YouTube and on radio. For our radio listeners, I need to explain the shirt that Beau is wearing. It's incredible. It says "Go Cam Go" and has 6 photos of Cam Brate that are maybe I don't know if I want to call them the most or least flattering I've ever seen.
There's a couple flattering ones.
They're really good. I mean, I think it's hard to say which one's your favorite. Like, I like this one the most, but look at this. Like, that's just a cool guy right there. So it's, I mean, it's a cool guy. Brooke, Cam's lovely wife, had these shirts made before Cam participated in camp games last year. So I had to, I wear it at any opportunity. Got to support my boy. One of my favorite shirts. It's gotten a lot of play.
I can tell. Was it made with the giant cutouts, or was that the Beau Allen special?
Believe it or not, I did that myself.
I figured. That feels like what every shirt that goes through your house ends up looking like.
Yeah, we'll end up cropping it next. I just didn't
going to slowly get shorter and shorter
exactly,
and smaller.
Yeah, I just didn't want to take any. I didn't want to distract too much from the real star of the show, which is these photos of Cam.
Cam, are you already regretting having him on this show?
No, it's a great shirt. I think we got to get that out to some more people. I'll set up a link so people can buy it.
Let's put it in the fan shop, the official Bucs,
in the team store at the stadium. Exactly. I think those would sell like hotcakes. Right. That would be incredible. Yeah. Yep. All right, well, let's dive into this game because, man, it was a fun one. And for you guys, I want you to put yourselves in the position of these players, remembering after you have such a tough game against the Broncos. And to come out and have this kind of a game, Beau, what do you feel like that would have done for the team, the morale, the locker room, of not just getting a win, but a decisive one?
Yeah, I think it's great to bounce back. Anytime you drop a game against a team like the Broncos where, frankly, I think it's a little bit of a surprise. The team didn't play as well as I think they hoped they would against the Broncos. So to play at home, have a good win, a very decisive win, kind of felt like they controlled the game throughout, from the very first drive. Great way to get back on track, especially during a short week.
Yeah, great insight, Beau.
Thank you, Cam.
You're welcome. It was a great game. All facets, just getting out to the huge lead right away. That was really big for the Bucs in terms of both teams, what they wanted to do. Totally kind of flipped the game and made the Eagles pretty one-dimensional in what they could do on offense, but very reassuring for the Bucs. They did not play well at all last week, and to come out against a really good team and play the way that it did is definitely something to build off of.
And I know that everyone was talking about how hot it was, that maybe even so far this season it's been the hottest game that there was. And I was thinking about, Beau, with Philadelphia coming down here, not being used to that, and then looking at especially your defense having to be on the field for so long. Was that what was going through your mind of knowing you've experienced what that's like?
I've been there. I mean, I remember, Cam, remember we played the Eagles the second week of the year in 2018?
That was
and I was in Philly. We won the Super Bowl, and I signed down here. It's like whenever you play your former team, you really want to show out. And I remember it was so hot. So I had flashbacks to that. You see, there's a lot of cramping, a lot of heat-related illness or whatever they call it for the Eagles. But, the defense was on the field a ton. I think the Eagles went 3 and out, 3 drives in a row. Start off the game. And then the Bucs had those long drives, and it's tough. You're not used to that. So I think it was definitely a factor. Heat was a factor. It was a hot one.
There are some great live updates from the sideline with describing some of the heat-related illnesses for the Eagles players. But in theory, you definitely want that, as your advantage for the Bucs, right? You're used to it as long as the coaches kind of don't wear you out during the week, which I think Todd does a great job. Mm-hmm. That should be an advantage, right? The guys down here are acclimated. Definitely a challenge for a northerner like Beau to come down here and play a bunch of plays
Sweaty.
early.
It's a sweaty game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And offensively, we had talked about how getting the fast start was going to be so important, especially for a game like this. But I mean, man, this offense, it's the first opening drive touchdown since the end of the 22 season.
Wow,
You were still playing in the NFL the last time they got that. They had won the first 2 drives, which is great. And of course, also the first 5 plays go to all different people. It was just clicking so early. What did you see offensively?
I love that they came out first play through it to Mike. He's the alpha of the offense, right? Like, he's the one guy, like, no matter what the coverage is, like, you can throw it to Mike and there's a good chance you're going to have a successful play. So to get him involved early kind of like focuses him on the game, right? And got the ball to Rashad, Chris. Baker did a great job. And I want to say offensive line, huge improvement from last week. That was the biggest thing on offense. Baker had a ton of clean pockets early in the game. And, you know, if you give Baker time to throw the ball, like, he's going to find the right guy who's going to make a good throw, and he did that.
Truly. I think they did a really good job, like the first 15 coming out, moving the pocket, getting the ball out. Like, not a huge commitment to the run game early. The Bucs have struggled to run the ball in the last, 2 seasons. And so that's one thing I like, because that was a matchup that I, as a former, nose guard, interior lineman, I was interested to see, like, Cody Mock versus Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, some young dudes for the Eagles that have some juice. They took them out of the game early by not really running the ball, throwing the ball quick, dishing it out to a bunch of different receivers, and then they kind of came back to the run game later in the game and had a lot of success. Like, Bucky Irving's sick, and some of those guys like White. So I thought that was a really good plan. Like, get Baker comfortable early, commit to the run game later, and I thought it worked out really well.
We're talking to Cam Brate and Beau Allen. Yeah, of course, Mike did all the things in this game that we thought he would do last week when we had him on our show.
Right.
Not bitter at all about the timing of all of that. It's fine. But he became the franchise leading scorer, 596 points.
Who did he overtake?
Martin Gramatica, because, of course,
Legend.
for basically every team, it's your kicker who's going to have it. So he joins only Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice as the non-kickers to hold that for their franchise. Like,
Very cool.
It's one thing to know Mike Evans is good. I feel like this stat just set it apart.
He's incredible. I mean, he's so consistently good, and he has been for this is his 11th year.
Yeah,
he's at 1,000 yards receiving, like, every year straight. I feel like people talk about how good he is, but I think he would be even more appreciated with a much wider audience. Frankly, like, he's unbelievable.
agreed. Good insight.
Retweet.
Thank you, Cam.
Well, and also we talked. Okay, so last week, when we had him on, we talked about how much he likes getting the ball often. You talked about that first play, which I love. Tom Brady called that on the broadcast as well, talking about how if it were me, I would maybe throw to Mike the very first play.
Yeah,
it's a good idea. And I thought this was really interesting. He had 14 targets in the game, which is his most since October of 22. The Bucs were 0-10 all time when he gets at least that many targets, because usually it means you're very behind.
Yeah.
I loved the idea that they were that intentional about getting it to him even in a win, even when you are up from the very beginning, and what that says. And you brought up Bucky Irving and Rashad White, both of them 10 carries for 49 yards, and also a few pass plays as well. What did you see from how you mentioned the improvement on the run game from years past? Cam, what did you notice especially in that area?
Kind of Beau mentioned earlier how they came out passing the ball, and I think the weather probably played a factor in that as well. But even early in the game, Rashad had a great run. I think the third play of the game, broke a tackle, probably got like 15 yards. They kind of didn't just rely on zone runs. They switched it up, ran some more gap schemes, and again, they kind of utilized Bucky and Rashad on the field at the same time a couple times, and that puts a lot of strain on the defense trying to figure out how they're going to do that with motions. But yeah, switched up the looks. It looked like they were all on the same page, offensive line, communicating with double team blocks, and definitely an improvement in the run game, and hopefully something that they can carry on.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Graham Barton, the rookie center. I think he's really good on combo blocks. Like, I love watching interior offensive and defensive line play. Obviously, that's my comfort zone.
So boring.
It's so great. But I think he's a really good young center. I think he's athletic. He's got great balance, really good core strength, which is important for an offensive lineman. I think he had a good game.
Yeah.
So I think I thought the O-line played really well, and that's I think that's been a little bit of an issue for the Bucs, so it's good to see that.
Yeah, to see that was still without Luke Gedeke,
Yep.
to be able to put on that kind of performance as well. And also the Eagles had net 0 yards of offense in the first quarter, which is wild. That's the lowest by a Buck opponent in a first quarter since 2002, which they had a pretty decent defense back then.
Yeah.
What did you notice, Beau, especially looking at the Bucs defense, what they were doing early on?
Well, I got to give my boy Vita some love. I mean, it's so good to get him back in the lineup. Like, that's one of my favorite guys to watch. Like, he had a great game. He had a sack. He had some big stops, like down in the low red zone. I think he's really the juice behind the defense. But
it's a totally different defense when Vita plays.
Yeah.
Like, totally changes the Bucs' identity on defense. Just the way he's able to move the offensive lineman back. Makes the quarterback uncomfortable in the pass game, and then run game, he's going to take on 2 blockers and free up a guy like Lavonte to make plays.
Yeah.
So
and Lavonte had an unbelievable game.
Lavonte was everywhere. Yeah, he was awesome yesterday.
But Todd spent a lot of time in Philly, and I think he's very familiar with, the Eagles organization, the team, what they like to do offensively, and I thought the defense really had a really good performance.
Yeah, Lavonte, 2 sacks, including a sack fumble. That's his 4th 2-sack game of his career. He also joined Derek Brooks as the only players in team history to hit 1,500 tackles with the franchise.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Mike and, like, how he's underrated, but everyone knows Mike. Lavonte is incredible. I think he's, like, one of the best linebackers in the history of the game. I really don't think he gets enough love. And what a dude, too, like, great smile, great personality, great leader. But an absolute dog in the field, too, and, like, really the heart and soul of the defense, and, like, one of my favorite guys I've ever played with. Like, when you're a defensive lineman like Vita or whatever, and you have a guy like Lavonte David behind you, you just feel like you can do whatever. Like, you're invincible.
Would you say I'm one of the favorite guys you ever played with, or no?
Well, I do have your face on my shirt here, Cam, so I'd put you up there. You're like top 50 maybe.
I'll take it. Yep.
Yeah, I'll give you top 50.
I'm going to take a commercial break so that Cam can continue fishing
Yeah.
for these compliments like that. We'll give him a few minutes to do that.
Well, I'm hoping for some compliments too, Cam. That's why I came on the show.
Definitely. They're coming.
They're coming. Don't you worry. All right, we have more coming up here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. Casey Phillips here with Cam Brate and Beau Allen. I feel like we got to continue talking about that game just a little bit longer here. 6 sacks by the defense after only 2 in the first 3 games combined. Beau, tell me what you saw particularly in that area and what seemed to be this switch that got flipped, because it's not like Jalen's an easy guy to typically sack.
No, he's mobile. I think the biggest thing for me is we talked about the Bucs offensively, how they got up early on the Eagles, and the Eagles have a great run game, but anytime you play with a lead defensively, like, you really get the chance to rush the passer. So I think, besides great individual performances from those guys, like we talked about Lavonte and his 2 sacks, it's just so nice when you have a lead, that your opponent has to throw the ball, and then you can really rush.
Yeah, it looked like to me, obviously having Vita back, forcing pressure up in Jalen's face. Yaya did a really good job collapsing the edge too, and Jalen didn't really have anywhere to escape on a bunch of those.
The Eagles have been a little banged up on their O-line too, especially the right side. Lane Johnson
Don't
was
make
out.
excuses.
Hey, I just call it as I see it, Cam. All right, this is called analysis.
Yesterday, did you have a rooting interest?
Just keep in mind you're getting paid to be on this show.
Right. No, go Bucs.
Like a ton of
go
money.
Bucs. I mean, it's hard. Both teams. Anytime, like, you root for any team that you played for, right? So, like, I would have been happy either way.
Patriots too.
Yeah, of course, definitely. So I was very happy with the Bucs performance. I just want all my buddies that I know that are still playing to really play well. So that's I just want everyone to go out there and have a good time.
I was
Stay healthy.
To say this.
Have
I just
fun.
want everybody to have fun.
Just want everyone to have fun.
That's adorable. Yeah. So also I know Cade has been more involved these last couple weeks after we had Liam Cohen on one of our shows a few weeks ago, and he said he'd actually apologized to Cade after one of the games for not getting him involved more.
I would love to see Cade's reaction to that apology.
He would have probably been blushing and it's okay.
No,
it's all fine.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for not getting you to call the play. So yeah, he's now 13 catches between the last 2 games.
The thing that I liked about Cade on Sunday is he looked really physical with his yards after the catch. It's nice to see a Bucs tight end with just some physicality, some toughness, because I think the Bucs haven't really had any of that at that position historically. I don't know what you think, Cam.
Surviving and advancing to the next play. Sometimes you got to protect yourself, and Yeah, but Cade actually does a great job after the catch. Very physical in all facets of the game. For not being a huge guy, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
Kid's
This is
awesome.
what you get for not complimenting Beau earlier.
It's all right.
No, it's coming. Which also, we had Tom Brady as the announcer. Tell me our thoughts on listening to this at this point, talking about his former team.
Yeah, I mean, Tom won a Super Bowl here. Obviously, he's the best player in the history of the NFL. I don't think that's disputed. It's probably fun to come back and, call a game. I think Tom would probably rather be on the field, but I don't know. Cam, you play with him. You know him well. What'd you think of his, his in-booth performance?
Yeah, it's a new role for him. Definitely provides like some great insight in terms of like quarterback play. I think he should continue to rely on his great experience as a player. But yeah, he's going to get better. I thought he did a great job yesterday. Yeah, it was interesting to hearing him talk about like some of the things quarterbacks were doing, different ball placement things that, maybe the average fan wouldn't really think about. So I thought that was cool.
His pro-con lists of what teams he was going to join.
He said the Bears?
I tried to zoom in. I thought I saw it said Cam Brate. I couldn't tell which list it was on for when he was deciding
probably
about
number
the Bucs.
one, right?
Yeah, it was. It was the very first one on the list.
I think he said there were like 7 pages of like different pros and cons, and pros, number 1, Cam Brate.
Cam Brate.
Underlined.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's definitely, I think I saw that too. Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to take us back now to when you guys got to play with each other here.
Good times.
Good times,
Good
right?
times.
We're talking
Simpler
to Cam Brate
times,
and
simpler
Beau
times.
Allen. First impressions of each other.
Oh, wow. I think it was in the cafeteria. I remember sitting down and having a conversation. I don't know how it started, but Cam was maybe looking for a new place to live. It asked me like where I was looking because I just moved into town. This was spring of 2018. And he's like, well, where are you thinking of living? I found out that Cam at the time lived with Adam Humphries and Ryan Griffin. And so we were
The
all
ultimate bachelor pad to have ever existed.
Yep. So we were all 3 of us were kind of chopping it up, talking about that. And I was like, oh, this guy seems kind of cool.
Wow.
So pretty solid first impression of Cam. And he was very welcoming to a new free agent acquisition.
Yeah.
And now we're buddies years later, so that's fun.
Did he
Yes.
really just benefit from having cool roommates at the time that made you think he
I
was?
think they made Cam seem cooler than he was.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a good
Surround
job.
yourself with cool people,
Yeah.
you kind of become cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool
like
by
osmosis.
association.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cam,
Absolutely.
what were your first impressions of this guy over here with his handlebar mustache?
Hot shot, free agent signing, fresh off a Super Bowl win. He kind of did carry like a little air about himself,
Yeah.
But the Tampa Heat humbled him, and Beau was always a great teammate, very gregarious, outgoing.
Handsome.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, you do have a good aesthetic.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay.
It must be the shirt I'm
I
wearing.
wouldn't say it's like handsome, but like you have like your look, it's
Yeah.
like Beau,
Yeah.
like a little dirty.
Oh.
May smell a little bit, but
Nothing like a backhanded compliment,
no, Beau was always a great teammate. Everyone loves being around Beau.
I remember when you were very excited about Florida Beau.
Florida Beau, yeah. I was
Yeah.
in Ybor recently, Casey, and I was thinking
What were
about.
you doing in Ybor?
I was just, I just went in for a nice cup of coffee and a little
What everyone goes
cafe
to
con
for.
leche, and I was thinking about when we did the cigar rolling thing and how fun that was.
It was
a good
amazing.
time.
Beau and I, because I wanted to embrace his Florida Beau characteristic, he shows up in a fedora and a Hawaiian shirt.
Pretty on brand.
Yeah, very on brand.
And we were going to teach him to roll cigars.
Yeah.
And the cigar place we went to seemed to have forgotten that we had arranged this and had no one there. And the people they did have there didn't speak one word of English.
Yeah.
And so the guy would show Beau what to do. Beau would try to copy it, and the guy would just go, no.
Yeah, it was
Every
hard.
time.
Dude,
It was
I
very hard.
imagine your paws
My
like a
fingers,
little too
my
stubby,
fingers all
like
messed up
bent.
from playing football. I was like, trying to roll these cigars. But it was a fun experience. I didn't realize how much went into that whole
Yeah,
process,
it was a lot. We also drank a lot of Cuban coffee, which is
Yes,
90% sugar.
yeah.
So by the end, we were rolling the cigars very quickly.
Yeah.
But-
we were working. That was fun though. That was a cool experience.
Beau, what are your favorite Bucs memories outside of obviously that story that we did together?
It's funny, yeah. I mean, when you retire, you the things that you miss. It's just stupid stuff. 2018, we had a ping pong table in the locker room, and we would arrange these elaborate brackets and ping pong tournaments. We all had different, nicknames and stuff like that. So it's just fun stuff like that. It's you almost remember stupid things with the guys, other than stuff on the field, which is it's kind of funny how that works. But Fitz Magic, that was a great moment. I think that was after. Was that the Eagles game in 2018?
Saints, Eagles,
Yeah.
and then Steelers on Monday night.
But when he put on all of DJ's
yeah, that was
stuff,
after the Eagles.
That
game.
was after that Eagles win that I mentioned earlier, and like beating your former team is always fun.
And then getting to have it be that way, and then also
Right.
with Djax it being his
and
former as well.
Exactly. And I think Djax had like a 60-yard touchdown on a bomb, like really
First
early
drive.
in that game.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was a cool moment, but other stuff like a lot of the off the field stuff too. It's just like great locker room, great group of guys, and like my first Gasparilla with all my teammates down in Tampa was a really fun one. Stuff like that. What about you, Cam? What are some of your favorite memories with the Bucs? Besides winning a Super Bowl, that doesn't
Specifically
That
with
doesn't
you, or
free range, whatever you want.
But probably that would be encouraged.
It's implied.
Yeah.
oh man, I'm trying to think. Well, like Beau said, kind of the off the field stuff you appreciate. So like we'd grab breakfast.
Yeah, we had Breakfast Club
at a terrible breakfast spot. Food was so bad, but
Yeah.
it mostly figuring out why we lost the game. That's like our teams weren't very good.
This
when
was in
Beau's here.
2018. We had a Breakfast Club. It was Cam, me, Allie, Griff, Carl.
This is perfect, because Allie told me to ask
Yeah.
you about the power of complaining,
Yeah.
was how he put it.
That's a
Beau
good way to
is
put
the
it.
biggest complainer in the
Oh,
world. Beau
me?
complains about
Never.
Beau's personality is just complaining, but he does it in like a positive way. But
Totally.
yeah,
I love to complain. You gotta. If I feel something, I just gotta let it out. You know, I can't just bottle it up. It's a tough way to live. You gotta talk to your boys, get together, eat some eggs, and complain. It's cathartic.
A complaining breakfast sounds pretty
Yeah.
incredible.
And now-
Festivus breakfast.
And with Allie, it's perfect. He's the perfect guy for the job. He's going to be a therapist now, a sports
You
psychologist.
Oh,
didn't even know that you were getting therapy for free.
he was
Right.
getting reps.
I've been.
Actually, you're why he decided to become a therapist.
Allie's like, these guys are head cases. He spent too much time around me and Cam. He's like, they need help. I need to help them.
He's got you to thank for this
Yeah,
new
exactly.
career. That's incredible. So, Beau, who were some of your favorite teammates here?
Well, a lot of guys I mentioned. I mean, Ryan Griffin, Ali Marpet. I love like Gerald McCoy, Vita, obviously. I feel like I'm missing one or two.
No, I don't
I'm
think so.
just joking. I love Cam. Scotty Miller. Like I played pickleball with Scotty down in Tampa too. I feel like we, during my time here, like we had so many good dudes in our locker room. Fitz, Jameis. It's funny how, you end up bonding with guys like outside of your position group, or like completely different, totally different position, totally different walk of life, and you just end up getting really close with these guys. It's fun.
That's pretty cool. I want to hear your memories of playing. So it's you came Vita's rookie year,
Yep.
is that right?
Yeah.
And then Sue was here.
Yeah.
Rookie Vita
Yeah.
and Ndamukong Sue and you in
Yeah.
a position room. First of all, should have been a Hard Knocks, no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
So I think Sue came. That was 2019, right? He came with Todd.
Yep.
After, and then Vita's first year was 2018.
Yep.
But I signed down as a free agent. I signed it like good deal, and I saw they drafted Vita. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like this is my replacement. Love it. Obviously, that's just kind of how it works in the NFL. But you notice his talent right away. But he was injured, I think, the first couple games of his rookie year. So just trying to like. When I was a young player in Philly, I had a group of guys who were, vets that were like really cool to me, really helpful with, helping me with technique and football, but also like how to be a professional athlete. Cam, I'm sure you probably had guys like that too when you were a young player. So it's just funny to see now, like that's kind of the role that I undertook with Vita, and now Vita is like that guy, for other younger players. So it's just a kind of a fun cycle.
The
that
circle
continues.
of life.
Yeah, the circle of life,
Yeah.
man.
Get it all.
Exactly.
Yeah, it happens very quickly. Like football is so funny because you
it's like dog
from
years.
you go from being the young guy and then
Yeah.
you look around, you're the old guy, and
Right.
it's like,
When did this happen?
yeah, right. But yeah, like if you have great, examples and leaders in the room that do
Right.
it for you, you just try to reciprocate. And I had that, so I felt like I had to help Gronk in different ways. Even though he was a vet, I still kind of play that role a little bit
Just
with
had to
him.
manage him a little bit.
But like with Cade, right? And like you
Yeah.
just see how nice of a guy Cade is, how good of a player he can be. So you try to just help propel him and give him the confidence to kind of like take those next steps as a player.
But I do want to talk about Sue because I got a little distracted.
We got distracted.
I
Please
think
go
that
ahead.
the perception of Sue is kind of one thing, and the reality of who he is as a person is very different. So he came in, I think he missed all of OTAs, and he had Todd's defense, which is a complicated defense. Like he'll install a blitz like at halftime of a game, like very exotic blitzes, a ton of different fronts, a lot of different things. and Sue picked it up in 2 days.
Jeez.
Like, he is a smart guy. He's very put together, very savvy. You know, he's off the field. He's got a lot of different interests and ventures that he's in, and I think that's kind of interesting compared to the perception of him as a player. You know what I mean? Like, but he's a great vet, like great pro, really like totally about his business. But like one of the smartest guys I've played with. He didn't go to Harvard or anything like that, but really smart player. And I think it's interesting to see kind of the difference between the perception of him and my experience. Like the reality of who he is a cool thing.
I was always scared of Sue.
He's very serious, but if you get him to open up, like he's pretty funny, man.
No, he was like definitely a nice guy, but it's just like his disposition. Yeah, he's like kind of like intimidating guy. Yeah, but he wouldn't. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy.
He is a great guy.
Yes.
But I agree. I felt the same way I felt like I needed to call him like Mr. Sue. Like you just feel like you need to show this sign of respect to this human over here. I love that you brought up Coach Bowles' defense like that. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your first impressions of him as a coach. And then, his defense and what it's like to learn. Right.
So he was a D coordinator when I was here. I'd seen his defenses on tape a lot, and I really, really like it. Like I think the thing that I appreciated most is like he does a really good job of understanding his players' strengths and putting them in positions to succeed based on that. I think he really knows who his players are and gives them like freedom and versatility to like do what they do best. But I think about that year in 2019 when I was in Todd's defense. Like one thing I was really proud of is we were the best team against the run in the NFL, which is a really cool thing. Like it's a tough thing to do, and like as a run stopping nose guard, like kind of got to hang your hat on that a little bit. But like we played in a lot of like solid fronts and a lot of bear, which is really fun as a defensive lineman because you end up getting a lot of 1-on-1s and 5-0 protection and stuff like that. The blitzes are fun too because you can end up confusing teams in their protections and like cut guys free, and you can kind of it's a nice kind of juxtaposition where like you play with five down or like solid fronts and you're playing like physical on your man on keys, or else you're like blitzing, you know what I mean? And it works well together.
Yeah, I think the hard thing for a lot of DCs is once you kind of do a little bit of everything, you're not good at anything, right?
Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah.
What Todd is able to do is he's able to create these little wrinkles where he is maximizing like Antoine's blitz skill set and Levante's blitz skill set. Like he's not having other guys blitz who maybe not be as good as that. He finds unique ways to really bring out guys' best strengths and kind of cover for their weaknesses. So I think, Todd's like a defensive genius in that regard.
Yeah, and he had a great game plan on Sunday, and really, we talked about it. The Eagles couldn't do anything offensively. Yeah. So.
I also wanted to hear your memories of playing alongside Jason Pierre-Paul.
JPP is one of the funniest guys ever. Funny. He has like such good energy, like trash talking. I remember him remember when we joint practice up in Tennessee?
Oh yeah.
So that's like another one of those memories that you think, and like as you talk, like more stuff just kind of comes to the surface. But we did a joint practice in Tennessee. Joint practices are a grind because you're in camp. You're it's usually like the second or third week of camp. You go up there and you're getting a ton of reps. Because like they split the field. And so you it's almost worse than a game. Like a day of joint practice, I think you end up getting like 60 or 70 reps, but JPP was trash talking the entire time, was playing out of his mind
and
too.
Backing it up,
which was fun to see. And like big smile on his face the whole time. He had this huge grin too. That was just like he smiles at you and you're like, oh my God. But like, he was a great guy, but like one of those guys where the thing you appreciate about football is kind of what I was saying is like from Minnesota, would never interact with a person like JPP, I feel like, if we didn't have the common denominator of football, and just so grateful that I had the opportunity to play with him and be in the meeting room with him, be in the locker room with him, because unbelievable guy and kind of a different cat too.
If he just had a camera on him,
like 24/7,
it would be must watch. Yeah. Like he is hilarious. It's so funny. Eats 2 hot dogs at halftime during games.
He would show up. Like, I'm the kind of guy on game day where I'm like up at 6 a.m. I'm getting to the stadium as soon as possible. Like I'm doing the same routine and stuff. And JPP's locker was right next to mine. And I'll never forget. Like I think it was a 1:00 game. And like we had to be on the field for warm-ups. Like call it like 12:20 or something. I don't know. And it's like 11:45. And it's like JPP's locker is just like, he's like rolls in, gets taped up quick, and he's ready to go. You know what I mean? It's like just so
He
different.
thought our game was at 4.
so different. Everyone's like, "Yo, where's GP?" I don't know, dude. I'm trying to worry about myself, but just such a different approach to the game, and like, it's kind of refreshing. You know
love
what I mean?
that.
He's great, dude.
That's amazing. We're going to take a quick break here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back to Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. Casey Phillips here with Cam Brate and Beau Allen. All right, Beau, we got to get into this a little bit. Tell me about the origins of the Butter King. What this is your alter
Thought
ego?
you'd never ask. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you play football for so long; it's such a big part of your identity, and then you retire and you want to kind of reinvent yourself a little bit. And so here we are, the Butter King. I was fat, sloppy nose guard for the entirety of my life, and then in retirement, lost a lot of weight. Feeling suave. So that's where that came from. But really what it is like a family nickname that was like a joke for a long time. And basically it's just a bit that I've really
What's the joke?
Just leaned into.
What was the origin of the joke?
The origin of the joke is we're at my cabin, which Cam came up to my cabin.
What is the cabin referred to as?
What do you mean?
The Butter Kingdom.
Oh, the Butter Kingdom, yes. Yes, that's the
You
Butter
have
Kingdom.
very much
Cam
leaned
has
into
visited the Butter Kingdom, the realm. But we play like yard games, a ton of different yard, like Beersby, spike ball. But we got really into can jam one summer, and we played like thousands of games, made a huge bracket. We all gave each other nicknames. And so mine was the Butter King because I was throwing buttery discs. And
I feel like that you gave yourself that nickname.
I did. And
Yeah,
then,
I was like, I don't see somebody else
It's a
being like,
self-appointed
ooh.
title. But then I
Is that allowed?
It's allowed.
I thought that
Don't
was the point
think
of
too much
nicknames.
about it. But then, like I was saying, we played ping pong and stuff in the locker room here, and we all had nicknames too. And mine was the Butter King, obviously. And then really just leaned into it, and here we are.
He got into a big kerfuffle on Instagram
It's one of those
over
Harvard
the
words.
rights
Yeah.
for the name,
Yeah.
the Butter King.
I reported this poor
So
kid.
there was someone else who had an Instagram handle
Yeah.
called the Butter King.
Yeah.
And so Beau was trying to get it so he could change
Yeah.
Beau onto the Butter King. And it was a very long process.
Contentious legal battle.
Some lawyers got involved.
Yeah, yep. Basically, I reported him every day until eventually
He gave up. He just
Yeah,
bullied
I
him
bullied him
into
into
submission.
it. It was a kid who had a Minecraft account who would just make a lot of butter. It was probably like 12 or 13-year-old kid, but then he was inactive for a year. So I reported to Instagram and came away with the rights. So
Congratulations.
Wow,
Yeah.
you must be so proud.
persistence is key in football and life,
It's incredible. And I feel like now you've gotten famous for many things.
Oh God.
Very famous.
Many
Yes,
things.
yes.
The one that I think is the funniest is essentially now because of how famous Jason Kelsey has gotten,
Yeah.
and you are good friends with
I'm
him.
just like a sidekick.
that, yeah, that you're just the fun guy that comes
Yeah.
alongside all these things. And
It's perfect for me. I don't really have to do anything, but just like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. It's
I'm
perfect.
here. And that you were the guy that carried him out of his first date with his now wife.
Yeah.
Because he was so drunk.
Yeah.
Is this what you imagined after an illustrious NFL career, that these are the things you would be famous
Well,
for?
it's just funny that, no, to answer your question, but it's funny to see the rise of Jason Kelsey. It's like watching football on Sunday, you can't even go a commercial without seeing him pop up. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is my buddy I used to go out with in Philly, But he's just a great everyman. He's a great guy. I never thought that story would get out and become as popular as it did. But, I mean, that's kind of what happened. He had his first date with Kylie, and I think he was a little nervous, maybe. It was after our holiday party in Philly that we would always kind of have a good time with, And, but, yeah, Kelsey, he had a good night, and I'd carry him out of the bar. It's one of the hardest things I've done.
I would say that might be the most impressive physical thing you've had to
I
do
was
in your football career.
fully drenched in sweat for
He's small. He's for a center.
I
you
mean,
know?
yeah. But he was fighting me, dude.
It is so funny how he's famous now.
I know.
He is just an everyman.
Yeah.
And, even a couple of years ago, great football player, but
Yeah.
he was just a good football player, Jason Kelsey, but now he's a celeb. And I give Beau a lot of credit. I'm sure he picked up a lot of Beau's influencer tactics
Yeah.
that Beau's been using.
So really, he
I've
owes
been
it all to
coaching
you.
him. Yeah,
Yeah, he
that's
owes it
really
all
what
to
it
you.
is. It's all due to me.
It's all
yeah.
due to you. Cam, what do you think you're famous for?
Famous for? Oh, man, I'm very famous.
Got to be catching the Lombardi.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm famous for just, being a great guy, great friend.
Great co-host.
Great co-host.
That's true.
Yeah.
Is it weird that maybe your most famous catch wasn't even in a game, that it was the Lombardi Trophy?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was a little inebriated at the time. So
Which
like,
makes it
I
that
don't
You're
even
much
allowed
have,
to be
impressive.
drunk at the
Yes.
Super Bowl parade.
Yeah.
Just so-
Yeah.
I mean, like,
It's almost
I
required.
know we're a family show, but come
Yeah.
on, it's the pinnacle of your
so
sports
like
career.
maybe I don't remember everything that well from that particular
Just pure
moment.
So
instinct.
this is why we haven't gotten as many details.
Yeah, he
They're a
threw
little
it,
fuzzy.
I caught it. You know?
The end.
yeah.
Great story.
I mean, you caught Tom's 2 last real throws, right? The touchdown, and then didn't you catch Tom's last touchdown pass?
did,
That's
yeah.
another thing. you
That's
know?
a thing.
It's
That
Cooper's-
sounds like you're the
Yeah.
answer
Cooper's
to a trivia
college tuition.
question.
Yeah, you kept that ball, right?
Yeah.
Smart. That's good.
Yep.
Are
Yeah.
you going to sell the ball, and that's the college tuition? Is that the
Yeah,
plan?
if I fall on hard times, yep, that's my nest egg right
That's
there.
your nest egg. We're talking to
Smart.
Cam Brate
Yeah.
and Beau Allen. What are some of the best things that you have done so far in retirement, Beau?
I've been doing random stuff. So I think the whole thing is like, and Cam, is relatively recently retired as well, but you devote your whole, time and effort and all your focus to playing football for so long. And when you're done playing, you're like, well, what do you do now? So like the big thing that I've wanted to do is like travel. I had the chance to go visit Ryan Griffin in Italy this spring, which is really cool. I never really traveled to Europe. So that was something that was like a major bucket list thing for me. And then to go there and see Ryan and Marissa and then his son, who's named Beau as well. So travel and like catch up with family and friends is something you don't really get the chance to do when you're playing. So that's been a fun one for me. What about you, Cam? How's retirement treating you?
Pretty good. Thanks. Yeah, it's been good. Travel.
Yeah. I had to go back and finish my college degree, which was a pain in the cheeks.
What's it in?
Your mom is so proud, though.
My mom's very proud. She brings it up all the time.
The carrying Jason Kelsey out of the bar didn't really do it for the mom.
No,
We had to do something
She wasn't
else.
happy about that one.
Yeah.
But no, I got my degree in HR, so I left.
That's the most ironic thing I've ever heard.
But I was doing marketing and management in the business school in Wisconsin, and I left I had 12 credits my senior spring, but I was like on the bubble as whether or not I was going to get drafted. I was like, I don't want to train for this, once in a lifetime opportunity while also taking class. Like I really want to try to go all in on this. Anyway, I was out of school for so long that they changed the graduation requirements. I had to do 19 credits. So when I retired, I was like, oh, shoot. And so I went back and I was in all these HR classes. I changed my degree from marketing management to HR because they had more online classes available. And it was like me with like a bunch of, I think I was one of like 2 dudes in the classes. Everyone was like trying to get this one specific HR certification, and they're like doing like role playing situations. Like, what would you do if at the office, like someone was using coarse or vulgar language? Like, why don't you tell a story of your personal experience? I'm like thinking about my time
me.
spent
It's
in
me.
the
I'm
NFL
the
locker room.
problem.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Bo was trying to figure out what he could get away with. Where's the line? How do I push it just to the edge?
He was in the classes, what not to
Talk
do.
about a time of Bo complaining.
Wow,
Bo complaining about his classes online was like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was every single time I saw Bo. Like, he would do these relatively easy online classes.
Wow.
Listen,
Shade.
my boy's wicked smart. All right.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a big complaining phase for Bo.
Yeah, I feel like
Thankfully, I had Cam to get me through it.
Yeah, you didn't seem to really know your audience of who to complain to about this. I will give you that.
I'll call you up next time, Casey.
Yeah, thank you. I'm much more okay with that than the Harvard guy over here.
Yeah.
Did you climb Mount Kilimanjaro
I did.
in retirement or in
No, I did
in
that
the
when I was
season?
playing.
Yeah.
So that was for Chris Long. I do a lot of media stuff with him. I played with him in Philly.
What's the media stuff you do?
It's called Green Light Podcast. We're live on Mondays. Check us out.
Shout out.
Also, Butter Breakdowns, which will be fun. I pick usually defensive linemen and talk really specific technique stuff. So I kind of want to do Vita this week.
Do it.
Anyway,
Go ahead. Proceed.
thank you for that plug opportunity,
Yep,
Cam.
you're welcome.
Climb Mount Kilimanjaro for Chris's Waterboys organization, which was really cool. Did that with a group of NFL football players and then military vets. It was hard, but it was cool. We had a great group. Rob Ninkovich was who's a Patriots linebacker edge player for a long time. He was part of our group. Kelsey was there. Chris. We had an awesome group. Really cool experience, but it was tough. And then actually convinced Allie to do it a couple years later as well. So that was a really fun thing that it's like, oh yeah, it was hard, but it was really rewarding experience and good group. And then also just a great charitable organization too.
And you lost a bunch of weight, you said. You've been working.
Yeah.
Was this on purpose, or was this like you had been, it was hard for you to keep the weight on?
No, I was always the other way. I was always like naturally very heavy, so it was hard to lose the weight.
Just like Cam over here.
Dude, the butter king. He consumes a lot of butter.
Got it, just straight butter. But no, just had to completely change my lifestyle. And I always joke, like, I just gave up eating candy for like 3 months and then lost 60 pounds.
Dude, no grown man eats more candy than Beau Allen. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I love
swear,
candy.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when you were playing, you were just housing
Ripping
candy.
Yeah.
Like game day even?
Was
there
post-game.
limits to
Why
the
not? Yeah,
post-game?
Post-game, he earned it.
Post-game celebration, yeah. But no, I mean, I have a great gym. I have a good training partner. And that was a big part of losing weight. But, I mean, I don't think you see a lot of 335-pound, 70-year-old men, you know, walking around. So just trying to make a commitment to living a slightly healthier lifestyle.
I
Not
like
being
this.
fat as hell.
I love it. Okay, so for both of you now, looking back at your careers, do you have think about maybe the hardest matchups you ever had? What were the players or guys that you were just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to go up against him?
Okay. Yeah, blocking was never that fun. And so
Did you block?
when they asked me to block, it wasn't that fun. I remember I could name basically every defensive player, and I was like, yeah, that was pretty hard trying to block him. But my rookie year, Julius Peppers, I remember like trying to get my hands on him. It's like the guy who puts their head on the little kid and they're flailing their arms. Like I didn't even come close to getting to him. Cam Jordan was always really hard. Another guy, he's on the Lions now. I think he's actually out for the year. Marcus Davenport, like maybe not the best football instincts, but like his mission every play was just to go straight through you, and that was never that fun for me. And then kind of like a random one, and like who doesn't get a ton of like credit for how good of a player was, but Patrick Chung was awesome in man coverage, and the Patriots asked him to cover a lot of tight ends, and it was very difficult going up against him.
Yeah. No, he's a good player, versatile.
Mm-hmm.
I think, it's funny because you bring up so many divisional opponents. I feel like that's always because you have those same reoccurring battles. So when I was in Philly, that's when the Cowboys O-line was rolling. So like Zach Martin, super good player. He's still playing at a really high level. Travis Frederick was the center at the time, a guy that I went to Wisconsin with. So I played against him in practice a ton. Really good player as well. And then the Redskins, the Commanders, they had like Trent Williams. They had like a really good O-line too, so that was one. But another guy who I always had a really hard time with was Marshall Yanda. He was a really good player for the Ravens, like really good anchor, not a huge body, but like functional strength was incredible. But I think my time with the Bucs,
Going up against Jensen
every day.
You kind of look like him.
Just button heads.
What? That's never
He must
been
be a
brought
handsome
up.
guy.
I really wish Beau, Ryan, Cody, all these. I wish everyone could have just all at once. We've had so many.
It's like
over
the
the
Spider-Man
years.
meme. You
That's
know?
we
Yeah,
could
you
have.
and Jensen.
Yeah, totally. No, but one guy who from the NFC South who's really good. I think now finally people are starting to recognize his talent. But Eric McCoy, for the Saints center, he was a rookie when I was playing. I remember thinking like this guy's going to be really good. So I think he's injured right now, but he's a really good player.
All right, we are going to take a quick break. We have one more segment. We're going to get into that Falcons game coming up here and a few other things with these guys, so don't go anywhere. This is Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back to Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. It's our final segment here with Cam Brate and Beau Allen. We talked about the hardest matchups you've had. Do you have a most embarrassing moment in a game?
Oh, I have so many.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the ones that actually still hurt. So, oh man, you go first.
Like we all have bad plays.
Bad plays.
Everyone
yeah.
gets
Exclude
rolled.
the
Everyone
bad plays,
gets
yeah.
Pancaked. I think one of my most embarrassing ones was in college. We were playing Stanford in the Rose Bowl. And I don't know exactly what happened. I can't really remember, but I'm like trying to chase down playing like a screen pass or something like that. And there's an O-lineman kind of hanging on me, like grab my pants. Basically ended up pantsing me. I felt a cool breeze on my cheeks. And I was
That's how you know.
Yeah. And I was like trying to pull up my pants. So I was just bare cheeks. And my hands were so taped up, I couldn't really do it. And like a teammate had to come help me hike my pants up. But like on film during the play, you can see like a full moon. in the Rose Bowl stadium. So that was pretty bad.
Just reflective.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's a good teammate to help you there too.
Yeah,
it's a great teammate.
He needed to help cover me up.
I can't think of anything that one
Did
wins.
that win?
Yeah, he's just going to take
That's
that
a
one.
nice-
We won't go to mine, yeah.
Well, luckily you're here the
I'll
whole
keep
rest
my-
of the
I'll
season
keep
my
on the
bottle
show.
up.
Cam
Yeah.
didn't have any embarrassing
No,
plays.
only good
just
plays.
Perfect reps.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this Falcons game here. Do you think that there's going to be a bit of an edge for the guys knowing how many people picked the Falcons to win the division starting this year and that there was so much hype about them? Do you feel like that's going to cause a little bit more of that chip or edge for the guys?
Yeah, I think like divisional opponent, right? Someone you're very familiar with. Yeah, there is a ton of buzz around the Falcons, and they've done a really good job. Got to have a new quarterback, new coach come in. They were really talented last year, just didn't have great quarterback play. So, it's going to be a great matchup. I'm sure the Coach Bowles will kind of show them all that stuff to try to light a fire under them. But short week presents a bunch of challenges, but I'm sure Coach will have them ready, and the guys will be fired up.
I don't have nothing to add. Cam, that was perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect answer.
Perfect
Thank you.
answer. Way to go, man.
We practiced that one in the car.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you guys remember about prepping on short weeks, especially on the road?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is like later. It's just you get so used to the routine of game week. You know what I mean? Like every Tuesday is the same, every Wednesday, every Thursday. So the biggest thing for me on a short week is like on Monday, Tuesday, just doing everything I can to get my body ready to go for Thursday. And that's kind of what always stuck out to me is like, oh, like we only have a couple days, like get right. It's not the usual time. Like you really got to take care of your body after a game on Sunday, like on Monday and Tuesday to get ready for a Thursday game.
For sure, because like all of a sudden the day you come in for your first practice of the week normally, like you're like, oh, we have a game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like totally switches that up. So like Monday, Tuesday are huge. You really have to trust the coaches, right? Because you're not going to be able to do as much work on your own in terms of watching tape, preparing for the opponent as you normally would. But yeah, like short week is really hard on the players, but like the back end, I love playing on Thursday nights. It's the best.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Primetime game. You get a mini little bye week.
It's so easy to get excited for the game.
A
It's
Thursday
primetime
night
game.
win is like
The best.
truly the best. We got a Thursday night win before Christmas in like 2016 in Philly, and then we got Christmas off, which is like kind of a rarity. But like Thursday night, like the mini bye after, you usually have that one circled on your calendar, before the season starts. Like
For sure.
it's great, but you got to put all the work in, in the beginning, portion of the week. You have like one day to get your body right, and then you're kind of back in it. So
It's definitely hard for the coaches because they have to do some of the prep the week before, and you can't really have too complicated of a game plan, put in a ton of new things. So I do think Thursday Night Football really shows the coaches who do a good job communicating to their teams and preparing.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're talking to Cam Brate and Beau Allen. So you mentioned that Thursday night, in some ways, a division opponent can be the best one to go against because you do have some familiarity, right? But this Falcons team does have a lot of new stuff. When you do have a new coach, you have a new quarterback, there's a lot of new pieces over there. So how much does that change, like how familiar you are with them and what that's like in a short week?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, it's weird to watch football teams evolve over the course of a season, So, like, a Thursday night game early in the season is going to be very different than a Thursday night. Like, what I'm trying to say is teams are going to go back to stuff defensively that you've gotten hit with later in the season. And, like, early in the season, you'd expect that on, like, a short week like a Thursday. Might not have the opportunity with that. I don't know. Do you get what I mean with that?
Nope. But
It's copycat league, Cam.
all right, there we go. Perfect.
You get
There
hit
it
with
is.
something defensively that hurts you. Like maybe they saw something that the Broncos did.
Right. It's more like copy paste.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Versus
I
like
I get you now,
individual
Beau.
prep. Yeah.
Good point.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was the question?
So now tell me a little bit about what stands out about this new look Falcons team so far from what you've seen of like what about Kirk Cousins? We know they still have Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, some other really interesting
They've got a good
weapons.
run game. Yeah.
They do have a really good
I
run
like
game.
their run game a lot. They've got some injuries at offensive line that have hurt them a little bit. I think their right guard, Chris Lindstrom, is a really good player. Really good. He's a really good athlete. He's really good blocking on the second level. So it'd be fun to watch him like on their outside zone stuff come back. It's a Shanahan tree?
Who is their OC? I actually don't know.
Yeah, we should have prepped more. But they're like an outside zone team, so like they do a really good job out of play action. They do like all the
Is
outside
it
zone
Zach
stuff.
Robinson?
I gotta look it up. I can't remember right now.
Potentially.
Yeah, it's Shanahan tree for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're trying to figure out on offense too. You can definitely tell they're not especially in the pass game, trying to get on the same page with Kirk and all the receivers.
I don't think they scored offensively on Sunday against the Saints. They had 4 field goals.
Yeah, and then they had the defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown.
Oh, yeah, the punt, too. Yeah. But, yeah, so they're trying to figure it out still. But they do have a ton of great players on offense, especially at the skill positions. Yeah. So, it'll be a good challenge for the Bucs.
We're going to close with a game that I came up with because of – again, a shout out to your Green Light podcast.
Green Light Pod. Check it out. Live Monday show. We're live today at 2 p.m. Go over every game.
We are going to play a game of Red Light, Green Light about some topics. So first and foremost, I printed out these photos. I didn't
What are
end
the
up
rules
needing
of
one
Red Light,
them.
Green Light?
Red Light is you don't like it. Green Light is you like it in the most simplest of terms. So I'm going to bring up something. You're going to bring those up.
Okay.
I printed out these photos. We're going to say red light, green light here to, I was going to say Beau's mustache, which I didn't even need the photo. I didn't know if he'd come in rocking at the handlebars here.
Cam trimmed it up for me this morning.
Also, I loved this original photo
Dude,
that we found.
Patriots legend, Beau.
Patriots
I was waiting for you to
version.
bring that up, Cam.
So red light, green light on Beau's handlebar mustache.
Oh, that's a green light. That's, handsome. What a handsome fellow.
Can I vote on this too?
Yes, you both vote.
2 thumbs way up.
2
Double
thumbs
green
way
light.
up.
What a handsome fellow.
So now, red light, green light on Cam's mustache when he was rocking it.
Big green light. I think Cam could bring down,
Could you rock the handlebar?
the handlebar a little more.
It's so thick.
That's a big time green light for me.
Thank you.
Did we get a green light from Brooke on that or a red light from Brooke? Is that why we don't have it?
That may be the problem.
It's switched day to day. Some days she wasn't really feeling it.
Okay.
She wasn't feeling it as much. Okay, so now next is red light, green light, dressing up for Halloween.
Green light.
Green light. Yeah.
It's fun.
How about couples costumes?
Red light.
Red
but
light.
but
I knew.
it's like, one, I don't really want to put the time and effort in to think about it. So if Brooke's like, hey, we're gonna do this, I'm like, great, I have an outfit.
Cam just lets Brooke run his life.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like my own personal assistant.
Seems like it's gone well.
Yeah.
Personal assistant. It's like his own personal boss.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mostly boss. But.
Yeah, he's like, yes, facts. All right, Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving.
I'm a red light on that.
Red light.
I think Thanksgiving needs its own shine.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. And we got some Christmas creep going on, And I was running the other morning. There's houses that have Christmas lights on Bayshore.
Big
thumbs
red light.
down, red light.
Red light.
Also, while we're talking about Thanksgiving, how great is Thanksgiving in retirement?
It's always great. It's the
No,
best.
I know, but we always had
not
to
having
play.
to practice.
I will say though, more responsibilities because you always had the excuse when you're playing, I got work in the morning, can't really help
with the
out.
turkey.
Now you actually have to help out, but football on TV, football eating food, that's the best day.
The best.
Yeah.
And last one here, defensive line is the easiest position.
Okay.
Red light, green light.
Yellow light. This is
Okay.
That's not allowed. That's
I was talking about this yesterday.
This is my personal philosophy on this, and I've spent countless hours thinking this over. Mentally, probably the easiest position, no doubt, especially in a scheme where you're just gap penetrating. Physically, very hard position.
Yes. D tackle, I think, hard position to play. Rush DN, 3-4 outside linebacker, I think could be the easiest
You
position.
just flip your brain off.
But, yeah, because you're doing the same thing every single play.
Yeah.
It's you can't drop the ball. You're just you kind of just run around trying to get a sack. I would look at the outside linebackers. I'm like, man, you can't really mess up today. You're just trying to rush the passer and get a sack. The great ones are so good. They're amazing. But, yeah, that always was a little envious. I feel yeah.
I love it.
I think Cam could have been an outside linebacker rushing the edge.
No, I couldn't.
Burning the corner.
No, I couldn't have.
Well, okay. Beau, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a blast. It's been great to hang out with you again, and we really appreciate the time.
It's been very fun. Thank you for having me.
You were awesome, Beau. Thank you.
Thanks, Cam.
How are we doing as an expert podcaster?
You get great content.
Thank you.
Elite content.
Thank you. We appreciate it. All right, that's going to do it for us on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio.